ranking my favorite NHL teams 31 to 1 for 2019. So everyone else is doing this kind of video, and I thought I'd do it too because it looks really fun and interesting. Yeah, I guess it'll give you an insight anyways into what teams I like and what teams I don't like, and I guess some reasons why I like them or don't like them. And that's all right here at Talking Habs with me, Rick. So if you love the Habs like I do, hit the subscribe button and ring the notifications bell, and that will mean, hang on, it's a new intro, and that'll get you my daily Habs content that's dedicated to the Habs and all things hockey. And you can leave any comments in the section below for comments. Okay, so it's kind of unscripted. I wrote down the teams, the ranking and all that. So I don't know where to start with that. I kind of really like this idea. I never really thought to rank teams in order of which I like. I've always been a Habs watcher. I've never really, until I had this channel, started watching games that the Habs were not involved in. So that's new on me. So I imagine over time this is going to change. And even the teams that I really don't like, that you could say I hate, which now that I have a channel I don't like to use that term anymore. Even though I still do sometimes, I try not to. And I know that'll change over time, that I won't, just won't be teams that I cheer for. And basically the only team I cheer for is Montreal, except in certain situations when, so the game's important to Montreal's standings, if they make the playoffs, something like that, so I'll cheer for another team. There's two teams I have real trouble cheering for. I don't even think if it means, like, bringing the Stanley Cup back to Canada that I can cheer for one of them, and the other one only if it means the Habs making the playoffs. And even then, I don't know, I'd have trouble. So, with that in mind, I'm going to write them on my trusty board. Let's see, we're going to use blue, I think, for this. And I guess we'll just get right into it, because it's going to be a long enough video as it is, I would imagine. So number 31, I think if anybody knows this channel and watches it regularly, you're going to know what team that is. It's going to be one of two. But for me, it's never a case of which one it is. It's always this one. And that's Toronto. The Bruins have more playoff history of late anyway, in the last 30 years, than Toronto does with Montreal. But for me, growing up, it was always Toronto. And since I grew up in Montreal, there's a natural Montreal-Toronto rivalry that probably plays into the fact that, for me, I don't ever see a time when Toronto's not 31. Now, any Leafs fans watching, I don't mean anything to you. You're allowed to love the team you love, and I'm sure you feel the same way about our team. So, that's just the way it is. What did I write for that? Yeah, so they're the biggest rival for me. Rivalry goes beyond hockey, which is what I was saying. So, and when I think back of it, probably the most series that the team that I really, for the playoffs, isn't really Toronto, because most of the Toronto-Montreal playoff series were, I was really young, like the last ones. It was in the 70s. So, anyway, so now we'll get to number 30, and number 30 also shouldn't shock anybody who is a watcher of my videos, and that is Boston. Now, the funny thing is, Boston should be the team that I hate the most. I'll say dislike the most. I don't want to use that term. Because of all the playoff series. Mostly we won, granted, but they beat us a few times too. And, I mean, the players and O'Reilly, Stan Jonathan, the fights, Brad Marchand now, Chara, these are guys I don't like. Tim Thomas, great goalie, I give it that, but I didn't like him. Big rivalry. Okay, enough said. Everyone knows I don't like Boston. And right now, as long as Brad Marchand's on that team, I can't even begin to. Okay, next one. I'll write it like this. I can give myself a lot of space. If you know how to, for hockey, that's Philadelphia. Philadelphia, the Flyers. In the 70s, just before Montreal went on their four years in a row winning the Cup run, the Broad Street Bullies won 2 cups in a row. 74 and 75, I believe. So, and they were like supposed to be the standard now of everything going forward at that point, at that time. This big bad team beats everybody up, is dirty and all that, and Montreal was just the opposite. And then in 76, they met in the finals, and Montreal, I'm sure it's the finals, I think it was the finals, and Montreal swept them in 4 and showed them that a skill game, a speed game, will beat a bullying game, if you want to put it that way. And anyways, and I haven't really liked the Flyers ever since then. Now, granted, in the last number of years, they haven't done anything really to make me not like them, but it's just something that goes that far back. And again, to any of these fans of these teams, and I know I got a couple subscribers that are fans and live there, I don't mean any disrespect. It's just, that's the way it is. And you know, everyone can have their opinion. That's what I believe. That's what my channel's about. Except when they get to be threatening. I had that recently on the last video, but okay. Well, 2 videos ago. Okay, taking too much time. 28 is New York Rangers. New York Rangers. I wrote here, I have no particular reason, just not a team I like. It might go back to when I was a kid. My mom didn't want to cheer for Montreal, I think because it just bugged my father. And she always chose the Rangers, and maybe that's where it goes back. I don't have any particular reason not to like the Rangers. They're going to be a really good team, I think, this year. But there you have it. The next one might not surprise anybody, considering the 2 videos ago. So if you follow my channel, you know. And this is not a team I particularly dislike for any reason, but considering the recent history, which a lot of it was my fault, and I take that, it's just making it there right now. Number 27, Carolina Hurricanes. Carolina Hurricanes. I'll just say, recent video hoopla. I received a few threats from the fans, which is okay. I mean, that's what's going to happen here. So that's why they're there. Otherwise, I don't particularly dislike them. Let's see. Next up. I'll write it like this. Next up is the Preds. Nashville Predators. Nashville. I really hate their uniforms. I don't like that logo or the uniforms, especially when they had those mustard colored garbage. I don't know what that was. And I wrote no other reason I can think of. It's not because PK Subban was there. It's not because they traded him away. I don't like their uniforms or their logo, and that's pretty much it. Yeah, some of my dislikes or whatever are going to be like that. Can't help it. Next up, SJ, San Jose Sharks. One of these teams that'll move around over time. I could like them, but I choose not to, probably because of Erik Karlsson. Yeah, it's holding a bit of a grudge, and I shouldn't really have one. I don't really. But I have no other reason. They're just not one of my favorite teams right now. Don't know why. Next up, Washington Capitals. Washington Capitals. Not a big Ovi fan. Not taking anything away from his being great. My dog's probably going to bark because there's a dog outside barking. Sorry for that. Not ever been a big Ovi fan, and I don't know why. Yeah, he's a great player. There's no taking that away from him. I wouldn't try. Like I wrote here, I respect him, just not a big fan. Therefore, not really a big fan of Capitals right now because it's all Ovi all the time, and don't blame him for that, right? Number 23. New Jersey Devils. The New Jersey Devils. What did I write before I say anything? Because they're in New Jersey. Yuck. It's not because they got Subban, because I don't dislike Subban. Yeah, New Jersey, just not a great place. People from New Jersey, sorry, it don't mean anything to you guys, but New Jersey's never been my favorite town, that's for sure. My grandmother, when I was a kid, lived in, I think, I'm going to say Trenton, but I don't know for sure. But not my favorite place. Number 22. I'm going to write out the full name. Well, not the full name. Dallas. The Dallas Stars. The Dallas Stars. The reason I don't like the Dallas Stars is very simple. I like the North Stars. I got no feelings for Dallas for some reason. I like the Minnesota North Stars. Didn't want them to move. and therefore I don't have any particular feeling for Dallas. So they're 22. Next one up. CBJ, Columbus Blue Jackets. Columbus Blue Jackets at number 21. They took our wild card spot, damn it. That's what I wrote there. Yeah, I mean, they took our wild card spot. We missed it by what? 2 points? They were 2 points ahead of us. So for this year, that's where they are, and that's the reason. Number 20. The Ducks. Anaheim Ducks. My reasons for not liking the Anaheim Ducks. The Mighty Ducks. 1, 2, and 3. Enough said. Number 19. Edmonton Oilers. The Edmonton Oilers. Let's see what I wrote here. Canadian team, so I should probably like them more, but I don't. I don't have any real particular reason. I don't really dislike them, but I don't particularly like them either. I think I got carpal tunnel. My hat falls asleep. Yeah, that's it. Number 18, and besides, at 19, they're not that far down, so it's not like I really dislike them. Number 18. LA Kings. I don't really care for them, but I don't know why. But it's not I just don't know why. We beat them in '93 for our last cup, so it wouldn't cause me to dislike them. It's not a team I particularly cheer for. Like I said, don't know why. Next team up on this list. Buffalo. Oh, you see that long enough. Buffalo Sabres. I guess at this point we're right in the middle of the pack. It's not that I particularly like a team or I particularly don't. They had some good players over the years. Go back to Perreault, Mogilny, Pat LaFontaine, Dominic Hasek. They had some good players, and I don't particularly dislike them, but I don't also particularly like them for any particular reason. That Perreault, and was it Jacques Martin and the French Connection. I can't remember the third guy on there. Awesome, but yeah, like I said, no particular feelings either way, really. Next up, 16. So now we're getting into the top part of the league. Approaching it anyway, almost there. Colorado, the Avalanche. They were Nordiques, so I don't dislike them. I'm more on the liking side. They were the Nordiques, and I liked the Nordiques. Even though I'm a Habs fan, I loved that rivalry. I wish the Nordiques would come back. So yes, I loved the Nordiques. I loved to hate the Nordiques, let me put it that way. But it wasn't a real hate because I loved that rivalry. And it was a rivalry to really like because the games were amazing. The Nordiques could be at the bottom of the barrel, and the games between the Habs was like a playoff game. So yeah, so and they had Patrick Roy, he won 2 cups there, so I can't really dislike them. Number 15, a nice Canadian team, Calgary. There might have been some years I didn't really like Calgary. In 89 when they beat us for the cup. But I like the Flames. Like I said, I wrote here, I like the Flames even though they beat us for the cup in 89. I don't really dislike them. There maybe a couple of years, I don't know, but I don't really dislike them. Number 14. They're here. I don't know why they're at 14. Minnesota Wild. I think I like them a little because the Mikko Koivu, so Saku Koivu's younger brother. Is that what I wrote? I think I wrote that. They're okay. I don't have anything against them. Saku's younger brother. Not much history with Montreal, so I don't know if I go either way. So that's why they're at 14. Number 13. On the hockey guys, it was the number 31. And it's funny for me, number 13, total opposite number. Coincidence, I didn't think about that. Pittsburgh, the Penguins. I actually have great respect for Mario Lemieux and Sidney Crosby, and therefore Penguins have never done anything that I remember that made me pissed off at them for any particular reason. They've had some really good players over the years. There's a guy I was going to put in yesterday's video, Jake Gunsel. Is a guy that if Habs could pick him up, I wouldn't mind that. I didn't put him in because he's another small player, and I had enough small players in there, and I hear about it every time I pick a small player, so I didn't. But yeah, I actually don't mind the Pens. I picked them to beat the Islanders in the playoffs, but they didn't. Next team. Okay, next team is the Senators. Ottawa Senators. Ottawa Senators. Who doesn't like a circus? I don't dislike them. I never really have, even though they're a close rival. I like Ottawa as a city. I really do. I like Ottawa as a city. Nice place. Nice, comfortable city to live in. But it's a circus there. Who doesn't like going to the circus? So that's the reason why. Next up, number 11. Florida. Florida Panthers are the next ones up. I like underdogs. Not all underdogs, but I do. I like the underdog. I like coming from behind like that. I also like Barkov, and I just want them to do well. They've never really. They had that time when they made the final. How many years ago? But you know, they're always like laughing stock. I just kind of want them to do well. Besides Florida, I used to go there when I was a kid. I used to go there every year, and I liked it. So, next up. Next up, Tampa Bay Lightning. Tampa Bay Lightning, next up. I like Tampa Bay. I don't know why, but I like them. Even though they're in the same division and all that. I like Florida, so this is a long video. We're getting to number 9. Getting up there. Number 9, Winnipeg Jets. Winnipeg Jets, number 9. Let's see what I wrote. Winnipeg Jets. I'm lost. They got their team back. Great story, and their Canadian team. And yeah, Winnipeg was never a team I disliked. I liked the Jets. I always kind of liked their logo for some reason. And Dale Hawerchuk. I can't think of a lot of other guys that were great, came out of Winnipeg, but underdogs, and I always liked that. Number 8. Okay, number 8. Chicago Blackhawks. Chicago Blackhawks, number 8. My first favorite player was Tony Esposito was my first favorite player, goalie, before I really became a Habs fan, so I was 5 or 6. And yeah, so I've never really, and Chris Chelios went there to play for many years. Trying to think of, they had a lot of, Bobby Hull, that's the obvious one. I can't think of anybody off the top of my head, but I always liked Chicago. Next one up. New York Islanders. Mike Bossy. Gotta love Mike Bossy. I remember his rookie year, 50 goals, great player. I worked with his, I'm going to say nephew or younger, I can't remember, cousin or nephew, at a restaurant many years back. Nice guy, Keith. And yeah, he was just a great player in the cup years when they were winning. Just a great player. In his short time, Mike Bossy, just a great player, and that's the reason I like the Oilers. I mean, Pat LaFontaine played there. Trottier, so many guys. They had a great team. They won 4 cups in a row, so you got to have a great team at that point. Next up, new team. Vegas Golden Knights. You see it? Vegas Golden Knights, next up. It's a new team. I made friends with VGK Coverage. VGK Coverage, great channel. He's a funny guy. So I made friends with him. And they made the Cup Finals in their first year. So, yeah, I like the team. I definitely like Vegas, and they do hockey right down there. I'm surprised that, yeah, they do it right. Fans really enjoy it. Apparently, it's a really nice atmosphere to go there. So, why not? Next up. Arizona Coyotes. Arizona Coyotes. Why do I like the Coyotes? Underdog. I have family in Arizona. My cousin who I live with, she's from Arizona. Let's see now. Yeah, I like the underdog story. That's all I got written there. Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's it. That's enough of a reason. Next up. Red Wings, Detroit Red Wings, Motor City, Detroit Red Wings. Yzerman's GM, I like Yzerman, always have. Gordie Howe and all that history, even though big rivalry with Richard, with the Rocket. Yeah, I think they've won the next most cups other than Montreal and still way behind, but still they're the second most biggest winners of the cup. Just a lot of history, never had a reason to dislike Detroit. Next up, oh, my writing is, I'm hurrying. Next up, St. Louis. St. Louis Blues. St. Louis Blues, Stanley Cup winner this year. Great story. Great story this last season. If they were probably would have been lower down if not for the story of this year. Cup winners, and I never really disliked St. Louis. I always liked St. Louis, liked their colors, liked the design. I always liked them. Yeah. I'm trying to think of names of players. I can't right now. I'm trying to get this in. I don't know if that's right, but it's getting to be a long video. I don't want to bore you guys. Second, Vancouver Canucks in number 2. Vancouver Canucks. My brother from another mother, who's a little mad at me these days, is not from there. He's born here, but he's lived most of his life out there. He's a Canucks fan and a Habs fan, so I've taken on the Canucks mantle as well. I've never had a reason not to like the Canucks. Those god-awful uniforms. Not now, but before. Yeah, so I follow them. Yeah, so Canucks. And number 1, and it shouldn't surprise anyone, because if it does surprise you what my number 1 pick is, besides the fact that I've gone through all the other teams and it's the only one left, and if it surprises you, then maybe you got problems. Montreal. Of course it's the Habs. Why wouldn't it be the Habs? Montreal, always number 1 in my heart. There would never, ever be a time that Montreal wouldn't be that number 1 pick. Even if they were bottom of the barrel in the league, it's still going to be my number 1 pick, because that's it. Guy Lafleur, the Rocket, Jean Beliveau, 24 cups, so much hockey history. The greatest team in hockey, the most popular team worldwide in hockey, the most well-known team worldwide in hockey, and my hometown team. There you go. That's my, from 31 to 1, favorite hockey teams in the NHL. So, thanks for watching this video. It's a little long. I hope you liked it. And if you like this video, hit the like button, subscribe, and ring the notifications bell, and you'll get all my Habs content daily when it comes out, because it's going to notify you, and it'll give you your daily Habs fix. So, daily Habs fix of Bleu, Blanc, Rouge. So leave any comments in the section below, and check out, I'm going to put a couple of videos over here. Check them out if anybody's still watching, I don't know. And don't forget, Saturday Night Hockey Talk, Saturday nights at 9 p.m. all the way through the summer, and then we'll see, I might change the time in the winter before the game. So I'll see how I'm going to do that. But anyways, check that out. I'm going too long. Go Habs go, and bye y'all.